All right, so this week's topic for COM 200 week 4 was privacy and security, and I really chose to focus on privacy in a social media driven world because there's so much social media nowadays. So getting into my prompt, this week's topic was really broad, so I wanted to zoom a little bit more into it. So I wrote for my prompt, is sacrificing my personal data worth it for access to social media? So this week I used ChatGPT. It gave me a really long response, but we're going to break down each bullet point. Getting into the first bullet point, we have the value of social media. So really, is social media of value in your life? Is it opening up doors for you? What are the benefits of having social media? I wanted to point out some of my thoughts on this section. I was thinking about how it's similar to last week when we were discussing like cell phones and smartphones. We discussed like the real need and the purpose. So what is the real purpose that people are going to have with social media? I think that the connectedness is really going to be a pro in the pros and cons list for most people when it comes to this value of social media point. So awareness of data practices, really talking about privacy policies, what data is being collected, where is it being sent, and I really thought about myself in that I skip a lot of the privacy policies. I have done a training recently for my job, and we were talking about some privacy policies. When you work with social media for a company, it's really a little bit more focused on what content can and cannot be shared, what is like sensitive data in the terms of the company. So it's important to review company privacy policies too. Mitigating privacy risks. So explore the privacy settings. What can you do to limit the amount of data that these apps and websites are taking from you? All of my accounts on social medias are set to private, and I really like the feature of privacy because you can really filter out who and who cannot see your content. But just because your account is set to private, that doesn't mean that someone who you have accepted to see your data couldn't share that outside of your circle as well. Alternatives, again, talking kind of about the necessity of social media. Could you use text or email or something else that is not as data hungry as social media platforms? Again, I thought this was really similar to the cell phone predicament that I covered in my video last week. Could there be other more secure options? I know that text is sometimes not as secure, but there are other options for communication, even face-to-face, that people are utilizing less and less. Individual risk assessment. So personal, what are your personal data? What do they say? What would they give up if they were to be breached? Data breaches happen a lot, and on a variety of platforms. It could be with a bank, they could be social media, they could be emails. So it really depends on what platform it is as well that your data is being breached from. And then personal values and priorities. So is it an acceptable risk for you personally? You have to take all these factors into consideration to see if, would the pros outweigh the cons? I think personally in today's society, the benefits do outweigh the risks for most people. The security features and technology has been updated a lot over the past few years, two-factor authentication, that sort of thing. So I think that it's getting better, and I think that people depend so much on social media nowadays that it is an integral part of society. So you kind of need it to get by. Yeah, there's my analysis. Have a great week.